All right, we're gonna go ahead and open up the meeting to the Randolph County Board of Education. If y'all want to stand, we'll say a blessing to John. If you will, open us up with a word of prayer.
Father, thank you for this day and opportunity to come out and work again for things that we do to help our students in the system. Be with this country and the entire world as we're fighting this COVID-19 disease that has affected us so much. Be with all of our students and teachers as they continue this year to finish up strong, doing online learning, something that we're not used to doing, but we're learning as we go. Be with each one of us as we make the decisions that affect the students and staff of our schools. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Want to stand and say the pledge?
Yeah, we got it over there.
I pledge allegiance
To
to the flag of the United States of America
America.
and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
Justice for all.
All right. Item 1 is approve the agenda. The motion to approve.
Motion.
The second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item 2 is to approve the minutes to the February 27th, 2020, March 17th, 2020 board meetings. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hey, Bill,
Yes, sir.
let me, in case people are watching online or something, I wanted to just go over, what the governor has said about the Sunshine Law and us being able to have a meeting like this in case somebody's got any questions. You know,
Okay. That motion carries, though.
Right.
Okay.
The governor, in her proclamation back in March, talked about open meetings acts, and under her declaration, the third, under number 3, it talks about open meetings, and it says, notwithstanding any provisions of the Open Meeting Act, members of a government body may participate in a meeting and establish a quorum, deliberate, and take action by means of telephone conference, video conference, or other similar communications equipment. Any deliberations conducted or action taken during the meeting is limited to matters within the governmental body's statutory authority that is necessary to respond to COVID-19 or necessary to perform the official minimum functions of the government body. The communication equipment allows all persons participating in the meeting to hear one another at the same time. So all of us can do that. I just wanted to make sure we did that in case some people said, well, the Sunshine Law says you have to have a certain number of people meeting. So we are in the clear of what the governor and the government has said as far as us holding our meetings. So anyway, carry forward.
All right. Item 3 is the presentation of the financial reports for January, February, and March 2020, which you all received probably a week and a half ago from Miss Bethany. If you have any questions with that, just contact her by phone or whatever. 'Cause she's not there, but she may be watching. I don't know. But,
She's watching.
but if you got any questions about that, just contact her. And then item 4 is recommend to approve the emergency declaration for receipts of bids for damage incurred at Randolph County High School and Woodland High School during the recent wind events. And I'm assuming that's the football fields.
It is.
Okay.
I talked to our architect. All of these things had to go through the architect because of the amount of damage it was. And he said that, and he's already started the bid process. It just at some point we had to do a declaration of an emergency so we could get the ball rolling. Otherwise, it would have taken 6 months to have gotten things done. So that the architects have already come up and looked at the damage around the ball field here. I think the estimate for the for the light here was almost $70,000. And
Oh, yeah.
they're already working on the new scoreboard at Woodland. And I haven't talked to the architect lately, so that did not include the fencing or the bleachers. That was just for the light pole down here at RCHS. So we're talking a very substantial amount of money in that wind damage that happened.
Yeah, I hate it happened, but I'm glad it happened when there wasn't no football game going on.
That's right.
Amen.
And we were here at work, Tanya and I were, and when it went over, and we didn't notice it to start with, we noticed across the street some trees had been damaged, and then, fire truck came by and went out here to work with the power, so pretty bad right there for a little while.
All right, motion to approve that, emergency declaration.
Motion.
A second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And number 5 is the superintendent's report.
All right, on the superintendent's report, it may be a little lengthy because there's just a lot of things that need to be talked about and told. I want to go over some good things to start with. We did receive 3 letters from the State Department of Education, the ACT student assessment letters. They're in your packet. And that's where the ACT, the testing division came up and monitored the testing procedures going on at Randolph County High School. They were very complimentary of Ms. Tammy Messer and Ms. Deborah McManus on what they did as far as, the testing that went on. So I wanted to acknowledge that. There's also a form in there, Wadley received a Foundation to Play grant in the amount of $2,000 from Alabama Power for them to use at their place. There's the out-of-county travel included in this packet. The 1st of April, we had some vandalism and break-ins here at Randolph County High School. One of the driver's ed car has been totaled with the damage that was done to it.
Wow.
We did all the police reports and got all the paperwork in, sent it in, and we didn't realize these older driver's ed cars did not have liability. All they had was liability insurance. So we're gonna, Benny and them are gonna take the car over there and see if they can do anything for us to use. I don't really want to use it for kids if it's been damaged that bad. So we'll be talking with some local car dealerships to see what we can do as far as maybe see if they'll provide driver's ed car like they've done in the past, or if we have to do something different.
If they total this insurance, they'll total,
Well, the insurance company wouldn't total it because it was just,
but if it's been
Liability.
yeah, it has not been officially totaled by anybody other than just the amount of money it would take us to put back in.
having inspected the state.
Right.
Before you can get the time for it.
Yeah. The way it is, I guess we could fix it, but it's in pretty bad shape. They took the headlights out, cut off, raised the hood, got into the car through a window, took the hubcaps, raised the hood, got the battery, cut all the wiring to the vacuum hoses. So all the oil caps and things like that was off. So we don't know if they poured anything in. So we don't know if we have a motor that'll work. So, and just sitting right here, sitting right outside this door. Got in.
We got cameras back here that could have picked them up.
Well, we had cameras and got, but they had masks on and things like that.
Oh.
And they didn't do a vehicle. They broke into one of the storage buildings at RCHS, the concession stand, and the field house. So I made a pretty good round about it. Going on to buses, they have 6 of the new buses. They're doing the numbering. They should be ready for them to deliver just at any time. Those are the this year model buses. The 21s, they should have them ready in June to have those delivered here. And then the 2 special ed buses are scheduled to be here in July. We have the buses that we have to be destroyed. Part of the grant was they'll have to be holes drilled in the block and the bodies cut in half. Those buses right now that we move them and have them at a location, and then we will take them to Silicaga. But we're not gonna destroy them till we get our new ones on the ground. Don't want to get into one of those kind of situations. So we're really just tickled to death about the new buses. To let you know, we may have to alter our calendar that has been approved by the board. And I may talk about it again when I talk about, Dr. Mackey's talked to us the other day, but, they're wanting us to look at pushing back the start of school toward the end of August. So we may have to come back at some point this summer and alter our school calendar, depending on, just how this COVID-19 works out and what kind of restrictions we're still under. As y'all probably got the letter, the whole board training has been waived for this year, so that will not be a requirement. So every board member will only be required to do 4 hours of training this year. When we get back, if we want to go ahead and do the whole board training, we can. That's always, I think it has been very beneficial to me. When they come from the School Board Association, they do a really good job.
Yes.
We have we've noticed we have a system on our computers and all the students' emails that go through us, we call it BARC. And what it does, it alerts us anytime students talk about harming themselves or alcohol or drugs or things like that. And we've seen a real spike in that. One reason is a lot of the teachers have had students to just do reports on maybe suicide prevention or drug awareness, that where it really has shown up. But we have had 2 or 3 situations where we have had to talk to parents about some issues their students have had. So that's something good we have on our system that lets us know if somebody's trying to do something, wrong. Graduation, right now, we have made a decision to cancel all kindergarten, 6th, and 8th grade graduation ceremonies for a couple of reasons. One is the size of a gathering that you would have is way larger than what we would have. Another one is, for kindergarten graduation, it takes about a month of practice for them to do that. So, with us not being able to have anything back on campuses for the rest of the year, that's why we decided to go ahead and just say we weren't going to have any of those. High school graduation, we're still going to put that on hold. We're going to hold hope out that we can have a graduation ceremony. We would like to have a big one. It may be where we have one where only parents can come, maybe grandparents. I noticed one school, they were going to have a ceremony and just have a few at the time come. So we will look at that. We'll know a little bit more after the governor speaks to us on May 15th, and then we will try to make a decision of what we're going to do as far as that goes. The system is going to receive some money under this CARES Act. That the government has sent it out due to COVID-19. One thing that we're going to do here, we had looked at this several months ago after the flu season. Company came and did a presentation for an electrostatic sprayer, and what it does, it has disinfected, and you spray it in a room, and it's charged electrically, and it will go and stick under the desk and under the chairs and on the floor and everything. So with some of this CARES money, we're going to purchase one of those for every school in the system and the spray that goes with it. They were pretty hefty, but I think that's something we can, and not only for this, we were looking at doing those to have it for just the flu and cold season, to go in when it starts. Like this year when it got over at Wedowee Elementary so bad, we could have gone in and sprayed that whole building, in a few hours and got it taken care of. We're looking at doing some extra professional development for teachers to assist them so that they will be a little more proficient with online teaching and learning. You know, and I can't say enough about our staff, you know, for us to just say one day, guess what, folks? You're not coming back. You're gonna teach online. You've never done it. You don't have your stuff. For what our teachers and staff have done under the circumstances with the short notice we had, I think it just tremendous, shows tremendous effort on their part and what they can do. So we want to offer some professional development for them. We will be looking at Chromebooks and different types of technology that we may use. We're also going to look at textbooks, because that is one issue we have right now. Some subjects we only have classroom sets, and if we could at least in the math, at least the math area, which those books come up for adoption next year, if we can purchase enough math books and reading ELA books where at least the students could have those to take home with them, you know, in a situation like this, it would be a lot easier for those teachers to work with those students. Any expenses that we have already incurred, we can charge back to this account. For example, students that did not have internet access at home to use for a Chromebook, and we did paper packets, they will pay us back for the paper, the toner, the postage that we've had to mail, because we would mail the packet and give them an envelope to mail it back to also. So, okay. Any questions on what I've talked about so far? I'm going to get in a little bit about what Dr. Mackey told the superintendents the other day. You know, the legislature went back into session today. I actually sat through some of the budget hearings a while ago. I thought they were kind of boring in person. They're really bad when you're not there. But it was interesting to hear them talk about the budget. And there will be, as far as teacher units and things like that, we're expecting the same. The advancement in technology money, we expect that we were going to get a pretty good chunk. We're looking for that to be, you know, cut down some this year. But the units remain the same, and most all of the funds will remain the same as far as technology, transportation, other current expenses. All of that is hopefully will stay the same. Have asked for money for summer school, but there again, we don't know how summer school would be as far as whether you would have that, even be able to have it because of size restrictions. The bond issue they've talked about is still moving ahead. It passed the Senate. We could greatly use some bond money for some roofs and some projects that we need here. You know, as far as our capital plan and things like that go, we could really use a little extra help for the state, and that would be great to have a bond issue. We know our local revenues and income taxes are probably going to be down just a little bit. You know, some stores are, you know, they're not able to be open, but then you go to other stores, some of the drive-in restaurants and some of the bigger stores, you know, you can't get in. They're just packed out. So it may end up and kind of be a wash on it. I'm afraid we're going to lose where a lot of internet purchases are being made. Dr. Mackey also talked about some possibilities for summer of 2020. And I want to make sure these are not in stone dates. They're just what they would like to do. It would depend on the data. And as Dr. Mackey said, we'll move forward based on data, not dates. You know, these dates could back up or they could be moved farther out, just depending on the numbers going across the state. Hopefully on May the 15th, the governor is going to have another update on where we're at right then. So we're kind of going to see right then where we'll go. Hopefully some very small groups can get together then. On June 5th, they're still saying that you shouldn't have small groups of like kindergarten graduation and things like that because of the numbers. We're hoping the 1st of June that all of our staff in the schools can come back. we're fairly well spread out here. Most of the time, there's about 2/3 to 3/4 of us here at any given time. Because our offices are spread out, we're really not, we can practice social distancing pretty easy right here. We'll even have, when we have principal meetings with all the principals, same situation we are here, everybody sits in their office. So we're trying to do all of that. June 8th, this gets into some athletics and some academic type stuff, but we're thinking that they may be able to bring back groups of 10 or less, and this would be children over 12 years old. So it'd be 13, it had to be a teenager and up. And for example, if you were a football coach and you were a lineman coach, you could have one adult and 9 kids together in that group. But that's all that group could do. The group could not work with me as a line coach and then go to Mr. Harden over there as the defensive back coach. They could only go to one group. If it was band, they could go in and work one group together, but they couldn't intermingle with other students or go to a different group. So anybody under that was not a teenager could not be able to do that. Also, for example, if they were in the weight room, if I do a bench press, before Jimmy can do a bench press, everything has to be wiped down. So I don't look for a lot of that to be going on in the weight room. You're spending too much time, in between what you're doing. So that's what they're hoping for around June 8th. Then around July 6th, which would be the Monday after the 4th of July, that maybe some special ed services can come back in, because we're going to have some services to make up for some of this loss that we have this spring. And allow students 12 and under to come on campus. So that might allow some time to have the reading programs, any kind of extra work that we may need to do on some of these kids that may be a little bit farther behind than what we normally do. And then hopefully regular school in August. And like I said, they would like for us to look at pushing it back. I think we want to wait and see what comes up on the 15th before we really look at what we think may be happening because of the numbers. You read in it every day, numbers will go up and they go down, but we may be having, an increase right now. We've been asked to think about what we would do next year as if we're back in school in every building. If we have a sick child, where that sick child could be in that school isolated until their parents could come pick them up, which that's a whole different ballgame too of, having to have an adult with that student, during that time. They also said they don't think we would have graduation ceremonies before July, but there again, that depends on the governor's guidance on size of gatherings. I could speculate and say, well, small as our schools are, you could go down here to RCHS and set mamas and daddies on both sides of the bleachers and spread out across the field, and you wouldn't be within 10 yards of anybody. So we'll just have to look and, I think
And the
if we
question is,
have,
how many kids will come back and do it?
yeah. But I just think that's something this group, needs, and we're going to do everything we can in our power to do that. So that's my 3 pages of notes. Any questions, or did I cover that pretty well for y'all?
Yeah.
Good job.
All right. No questions. We'll move to item 6, which is recommend to approve the contract for counseling services by Jacqueline Burgess, Executive Director / Therapist of the Tri-County Children Advocacy Center. And I got a question. Is that something we usually do, or is this something new?
This is something that we don't know for sure that we will have to use this service. it's kind of a special situation where we would like for somebody that's not associated with schools to do this service. And Jackie does a lot of stuff for our teachers at the beginning of the year, whole training. This would only be for just a minimum number of hours, maybe for a month or so, and just maybe once a week. And we may not, we may not even use it.
Will she be covering services in regards to, child abuse or neglect cases or something of that nature?
No, ma'am. No, this is
Okay.
a specific situation.
Well, I was
Okay.
wondering, we got that contract with that other, I think they're from Clay County,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know if this was in the same line, and how's the contract wrote as far as what we pay her? Is it just a flat rate, or is it based child by child, or?
It's written on here. You have it with you?
Well, I wasn't, let me,
It's a rate of $50 per session, usually 30 to 45 minutes in length. And like I say, I'm not sure that we'll have to have this, but,
This just be the summer one,
yeah, this would just, I don't even think it would go through the summer.
April 6th through September 30th.
It just covers that window.
I just want to make sure, with them out of school, everybody out of school, I was just wondering if that's something we need to do now, or wait till we know when school starts back.
No,
Or is it something-
this is for this year. This one, it's not anything for next year.
Okay. Okay, I got it.
This is some special education stuff. That's what,
Well, yeah, it is.
special
It's
education
through-
coordinator. will tell her.
Right, it's through special ed.
All right, no more questions, motion to approve?
I motion that we approve.
Second? Somebody second, I can't hear.
I did, second.
You did, okay.
Yeah, y'all may have
All
to
in favor?
wave your hand.
There you go. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passed. Let me get back to my thing here. And let's see. Too much stuff going on, John.
All right, this is to recommend to approve the contract with the Department of Examiners of Public Accounts for the annual audit of Randolph County School System. That's just our contract of what we'll pay the auditors who are already working, some with us. We get things up and send them to him, or we'll have a packet ready. He comes and picks it up and then works with it off-site.
That's what we did that paper for the other day, so.
Yeah, that's who that was for. And
Okay.
you have to do one of those every year.
Yeah,
And you even have to do it
I-
like some of the old former board members, they still had to do one this year too, and they've been off a couple years.
yeah. All right, so item 7 is recommend to approve the contract with Department of Examiners of Public Accounts for the annual audit of Randolph County School System. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
All right, number 8 is recommend to approve the P-HELP policy related to the 3-in-1 rule. And let me kind of explain what that is. If we have a first-year teacher that we hire in August and they work all year long, during the summer, there's enough allotment to cover their insurance until the next school year picks up in August. Well, let's say we hire a teacher in mid-year, and they only work January, February, March, April, and May. They don't earn enough to cover all 3 months in the summer. So they are left without insurance. They would have to pay their portion of the insurance and our portion of the insurance, which for a first-year teacher, a pretty good chunk of money,
Yeah.
for them to do that. So what this 3-in-1 rule does says that if this person has worked, if we hire them the first of the year and we're gonna hire them back and they're gonna come back to us the next year, we're gonna pay we're gonna pay our part during July so that you don't have to come out of your pocket with extra money. It shouldn't cost us very much money in the long run, because we only have one or two, maybe three at the most that we hire. But this is something that I think you just need to do for your employees, because if you're a first-year teacher and you've got to pay your part and the school's part of your insurance, you can't buy groceries that month. So that's just something I'd like for us to do, is to make sure we cover our people. And then if we pay for it in July and they leave and go to another system or whatever like that, then we get it back out of that last check.
That's right.
We need to make sure it's read up like that, that if they leave or whatever, that,
We were talking about, Bethany said that it's already set up that way. Isn't that right, Miss Kelly?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it says if you return.
Yeah, it says if
It
you
is.
return, that will
Okay.
cover that.
all right. Item H, recommend to approve the PHIP policy related to the 3-1 rule. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
All right, number 9, recommend to approve the personnel action sheet.
Item 9 is recommend to approve the personnel action sheet. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I would like to just explain one of them. If you look in your packet, under the first maternity leave request there's about 3 sheets with it. This was one of our teachers who had asked for a maternity leave of, several days. But since the rules changed as far as us staying at home and being able to work from home with our students, after a shorter length of time being out with her child, she could actually perform her duties at home. So we emailed her and asked her if she wanted to change that, and rather than having a sub do it, she said yes. So that's why there's some papers some more with it, so that you understand that email chain, since we couldn't talk to her in person, of why that's different. I
We had a
do
motion.
think this little meeting went pretty well like this for the first
I got
time.
a-
I know there's some
yeah.
things I can do better next time.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor of that personnel action sheet?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any further discussion? Anybody? Well, I think it went pretty well, so far. So,
Well, I'll try to keep you informed
We learn.
when we know something, Of course, when the governor says something, y'all know it about as quick as I do.
all right. If
Thank you.
nothing else, motion to adjourn.
All right, thank y'all.
Motion.
Second.
Oh, I thought y'all done that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank